My name is Stephen USSR Robinson, and thank you for watching Sporting Icons.
The 11th of April at the O2 Arena, London. BT Sport box office, pay-per-view, undefeated prospects. Daniel Dubois and Joyce are going at it. It's official. It's a fight for the fans. It's what the fans wanted, so the fans are going to get it. Now, I'm hearing that there could be a press conference today. I don't know that for a fact. So if it doesn't happen, don't hold my toes to the fire. Okay? But if it does happen, expect fireworks. That press conference is going to be lit. These guys are going to be going at each other, in each other's grill. They're going to be insulting each other's mothers. Tables are going to be flying everywhere. Right, beer bottles going to be thrown at each other. All that kind of good stuff. With John Rawling in the middle there, giving it how he usually does. You know, really selling the fight, the pay-per-view, the event, all of it. You know what John Rawling's like. Yep, the cure for insomnia. Now, that's what it's going to need, though, to be honest with you. I think Joyce and Daniel Dubois, one of these guys are going to have to break out of their eggshell, burst their bubble, and really come out and be the bad guy in this one. They're going to have to play the villain, the heel, the antagonist. Hey, yo, got to be the bad guy. That's what they're going to have to do. And I think out of both of them, now I'm hearing that both of these guys are pretty colourful characters in the gym and whatever, and they are very good at it. Just like you put a camera in front of them, they like freeze up like a cat in the headlights. That's kind of what happens. But one of these guys is going to have to take that role. They're going to have to be the villain. And I think that Daniel Dubois could be the one who could do it. Because we've seen little glimpses of it. He's very capable of doing it when he had the press conference with Nathan Gorman. He was saying some pretty good stuff, and I like that one. Already on social media, Daniel Dubois is saying that how he's going to put on a devastating performance and has told Joyce to bring his sleeping bag. Now, hopefully the crowd watching in the arena or at home on BT Sport box office are not thinking, man, I should have brought my own sleeping bag. Hopefully not, right? But I think that this fight is going to be pretty good, to be honest with you. Now, I don't have too much of a problem with it being pay-per-view. I understand those who do. But if you look at the pay-per-view model overall, it's not about world titles and that anymore. It's about the fights that the fans want to see. It's all about the fans, isn't it, Frank? So it's a fight that the fans want to see, right? So therefore, it's going to be pay-per-view. This is the era that we're living in, unfortunately. Now, a couple of weeks ago, when I said to you guys that I'm hearing that it's going to be pay-per-view, I did a video. If you haven't seen it, it will pop up at the end, if you fancy watching it, of course, where I did say, and I was comparing it with Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua. Yes, Dillian Whyte versus Anthony Joshua. Not Anthony Joshua versus Dillian Whyte, but the other way around. Again, that was one of three to date that Anthony Joshua actually walked out before his opponent, okay, which was against Dillian Whyte. Now, Dillian Whyte, he sold that pay-per-view. He was up in the grill of Anthony Joshua. He was chastising him on the stage, chastising him in interviews. And even now, to this day, people still don't like Dillian Whyte because of what he said and done with Anthony Joshua. That's how good he played the role. He took on that role to sell that pay-per-view. He really did. And that's what's going to have to happen in this one, okay, with Daniel Dubois or Joyce. Of course, we're going to have Sam Jones. Now, it's very unusual for a manager to be up there on the stage at the press conference, but Sam Jones has to because Joyce, let's be honest, he's pretty much like a mute. Okay, so Sam Jones, he will play the role of, well, he's a British version of David Higgins is really what he is, isn't he? He'll just play the absolute knob is what he'll do, and it'll get people talking. I'm pretty sure after the press conference, what he says and does is what people are going to be talking about. I think that's how it's going to be. Now, going back to the Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua fight, yes, that fight was also for a British heavyweight title, and as I said before, I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. I know plenty of people have been mentioning about it now, drawing comparison, but as I said, Anthony Joshua was an Olympic gold medalist, and he was already on the ascend to stardom. But vocabulary, the way he was speaking, the humble attitude, the Mr. Nice Guy, needed a polar opposite to him. And that's where Dillian Whyte come along. So there's the big difference between it. That's why that was pay-per-view worthy. Now, I do believe that Daniel Dubois and Joyce could be a pay-per-view worthy fight. Now, it does need a pretty good undercard. Unfortunately for Frank, he doesn't have the depth of a stable to put on a cracking undercard. Now, he will disagree with my statement on that one. But for me, you need to be putting on fights where fans are emotionally invested. The Chief Support and the one before that, before the main event needs to be one that people go, ooh, I want to watch that one. Listen, this is pay-per-view, all right? This is pay-per-view. Now, for me, there's only really like a couple of guys that I am emotionally invested in. One of them will be Troy Williamson for obvious reasons. He's from my neck of the woods up here in the Northeast, so big up the Trojan. Hope you're good, my man. Those kind of guys, right? I think that's what he needs to do, put these guys in risky, good fights against people that we've kind of heard of, all right? Because people don't take the word of Frank Warren anymore. Sorry, Frank, but they don't. So you need to put it on paper that you don't need to sell this event. It's going to sell itself, okay? You need to have a word in the shell of Dubois and Joyce to say, yo, you two go at each other. That's what needs to happen. These guys need to really, really sell it. And as a word of advice, if I was BT Sport, I'd probably take John Rawling out of the equation. If you want to keep him for the commentary on fight night, do what you got to do. At that point, it's already too late, right? People's already bought the tickets, already bought the pay-per-view, right? Don't have him mediate the press conference. He asked the most stupid questions that I think I've ever heard any professional say. Considering that he's been doing this for a long time, you think that he'd be pretty good. You need somebody who's really going to go at him, somebody who's really going to turn the thumb screws. That's what you need. Now, this is a good fight in itself. Is it a shame that these guys are fighting so early on in their career? Absolutely. And is it a good idea for Frank Warren to do it? Not really. But mark my words on this one. The winner of this fight will be pay-per-view going forward. This is what Frank Warren wants. He wants his own Anthony Joshua, his own Dillian Whyte. Now, the winner of this one is going to be pay-per-view going forward. The loser of this one is going to be a building process. And again, Frank Warren, while he does have a bit of a habit of binning people off when they take a loss, I don't think he's going to do it with this one. He's going to try and build the loser of this one like Dillian Whyte done, the comeback king, and eventually make the loser of this one a pay-per-view. I think it's going to be like a carbon copy. That's what Frank Warren's going to try and do. But as to who's going to win this one, I don't know who's the favourite. It's a 50-50 fight, which is why we have to give Frank Warren credit. He is risking something here. He's risking a lot here. He doesn't have a plethora of heavyweights that he can fall back on. He doesn't have it. He should have it, but he doesn't have it. So it's a massive, massive risk, and I have to give Frank Warren all the credit in the world for this one. It's a very interesting fight. On paper, it's a 50-50 fight. I think most fans are going to be pretty split as to who they think is going to win and how it's going to go. I think most people are probably predicting that in one way, shape or form, there's going to be a knockout, which is a selling tool in itself. And I think that the favourite for this one, I think it's going to be Joe Joyce, to be fair. I mean, Daniel Dubois, he's already had his baptism, if you like, a step-up fight against Nathan Gorman. I know people look back on it now because he just absolutely demolished him and went, okay, so Daniel Dubois is a real deal. Nathan Gorman weren't on par with him. So people forget that prior to that fight, a lot of people were actually picking Nathan Gorman to win that fight. Okay, so he has already been through the baptism. He's already headlined the show, and he's already been on the receiving end of a lot of people saying how he's going to lose. Now, Daniel Dubois has never really been in trouble. He has been clipped a couple of times. Joe Joyce, he's shown vulnerabilities too, especially against Bryant Jennings. I mean, had Bryant Jennings put his foot on the gas a bit more, who knows, he may have got Joe Joyce out of there. So you never know how the fight's going to go, but I would imagine that Joe Joyce, in my opinion, is probably going to be the favourite due to his amateur pedigree. He's been in there with the best. He's fought Tony Yoka. He's fought Herkovich. He's fought Alexander Usyk. He's done all this kind of thing. Dubois hasn't. So Joe Joyce has the experience. But Dan Dubois has a solid jab and a devastating right hand too. And he is a bit faster than Joe Joyce. Although I do think Joe Joyce is faster than what people give him credit for. But anyway, it's an interesting fight. I mean, I'm not going to try and convince you one way or the other whether or not it's pay-per-view. But for it to be pay-per-view and for people to go, actually, yeah, I do want to buy it, even though I may disagree that it's pay-per-view, I said one of these guys is going to really have to play the role of the antagonist in this one. If they don't, then, listen, it's going to be like watching Tarmac, isn't it? You know, I've said it before. But anyway, it is what it is. April the 11th, O2 Arena, London. Daniel Dubois versus Joyce. No idea what belts would be on the line. Could be a whole multitude of them. The Commonwealth, the British, the WBC Silver, the WBO European, the WBO International, and all kinds of other made-up WBO trinket titles. You know, it's a Frank Warren with his relationship with the WBO. But anyway, that is the news. Look forward to it. I'm looking forward to it for sure. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.